Your phone is slower than it should be, fuller than it should be, and more exposed to security risks than you probably realize. And none of that is because of anything you did wrong. It is because of how phones are set up by default, quietly accumulating data, leaving doors open, and never telling you what is happening in the background. In the next 15 minutes, we are going to fix all three of those problems: storage, speed, security, step by step, on both Android and iPhone, with no technical knowledge required. Let's start with the single biggest source of wasted space on almost every phone: the cache problem. Every app on your phone creates temporary files, every single one. When you open Instagram, it saves copies of images so they load faster next time. When you use Google Maps, it stores tile data so the map renders quickly. When you watch a YouTube video, it buffers and caches content to reduce loading time. When you use your bank app, your shopping app, your email app, all of them are constantly writing temporary files to your storage. The system is called the cache, and its original purpose is actually useful. Loading a saved image from your own storage is faster than downloading it again. Storing temporary data reduces how much mobile data apps consume. The cache was designed to make your experience smoother and faster. The problem is that it never stops growing. Apps write to the cache, but they are not aggressive about cleaning it up. Over weeks and months, that temporary data accumulates. An app that should have a cache measured in megabytes can end up carrying a cache measured in gigabytes. Multiply that across every app on your phone, and you can easily have 5, 10, or even 15 gigabytes of storage consumed by files that were only ever meant to be temporary. When your storage fills up, your phone slows down. The operating system needs free space to operate efficiently, to move files, to process tasks, to run smoothly. When storage is nearly full, the OS has less room to work and performance degrades. That sluggishness you've been experiencing is often not a hardware problem. It is a storage problem caused by cache files your phone never told you about. Let's remove them. Clearing cache on Android. The process varies slightly between Android manufacturers, but the core steps are consistent across most devices. Open your Settings app. Scroll down and tap Apps, which may also be labeled Application Manager or Application Settings depending on your device. You will see a list of every installed app. Tap on any app you want to clean. You'll see a screen showing that app's storage usage broken down into app size, user data, and cache. Tap Clear Cache. The cache files for that app are immediately deleted. The app itself is untouched. Your account remains logged in. Your preferences are preserved. Only the temporary files are removed. You can do this for every app individually, but that takes a long time. A faster method is available on many Android devices through a central storage management tool. Go to Settings, then Storage. You should see an option that says Cached Data or Free Up Space. On many devices, tapping this will show you the total cached data across all apps simultaneously and offer to clear it all at once. If your device has the option to clear all cached data in one action, use it. On a phone that hasn't been cleaned recently, the single step can recover anywhere from 2 to 15 gigabytes of storage immediately. After clearing, give your phone a moment. The apps will rebuild their caches from scratch over the next few days as you use them, but they will do so starting from zero rather than carrying months of accumulated temporary files. Clearing cache on iPhone. Apple doesn't provide a system-level cache clearing tool the way Android does. Instead, clearing cache on iPhone is done app by app through a specific process. Go to Settings. Scroll down to the list of your installed apps. Tap on any app. You'll see an option that shows the app's storage usage. The two relevant categories are Documents and Data, and the app size itself. Here's the critical distinction you need to understand before you clear anything on iPhone. Cache on iPhone is grouped under Documents and Data, but this category contains more than just temporary files. It also contains things like offline maps you've downloaded, files you've saved for offline access, login preferences, and other data that you might actually want to keep. Before clearing documents and data for any app, think about what that app stores that you care about. For a streaming app, Documents and Data primarily contains downloaded content you may have already watched, which is safe to clear. For a navigation app, it may contain offline maps you deliberately downloaded, which you might want to keep. The safest method for clearing iPhone app cache is the offload approach. Still in Settings, tap General, then iPhone Storage. Find an app you want to clean, tap it, and select Offload App. Offloading removes the app itself and its cache, but preserves your documents, preferences, and login data. When you reinstall the app, it comes back clean without the accumulated temporary files, but your account and settings are exactly as you left them. For apps where you don't care about preserving any stored data, such as social media apps or web browsers, you can go further. Delete the app entirely, then reinstall it fresh from the App Store. This is the most thorough cache clearing method available on iPhone and takes about 60 seconds per app. For Safari specifically, which accumulates significant cache over time, go to Settings, Safari, and tap Clear History and Website Data. This removes Safari's cache, browsing history, and cookies in one step. The document and data distinction. Before we move on, let's spend a moment on this because it matters. Cache is safe to delete. It is temporary data that apps will recreate as needed. Deleting it costs you nothing except a slightly slower load time the first time you open each app while it rebuilds. Documents and data is different. This category includes files you may have intentionally created or downloaded, offline maps in a navigation app, downloaded episodes in Netflix, saved documents in productivity apps, login credentials and preferences. When you're clearing storage, always think about which category you're dealing with. Cache, always safe to clear. Documents and data, review before deleting. The single biggest storage wins in the documents and data category usually come from streaming apps. Downloaded Netflix episodes, offline Spotify playlists, and YouTube downloads can easily consume 5 to 20 gigabytes. These are files you've already watched or listened to. They have no ongoing value. Clearing them reclaims enormous storage immediately. In Netflix, go to Downloads and delete anything you've already watched. In Spotify, go to Settings, Storage, and delete your cache and offline downloads. In YouTube, check your Downloads section and remove anything watched. These 3 apps alone can frequently recover more storage than clearing all other app caches combined. Slowing. Cache growth. Going forward. Now that you've cleared existing cache, let's reduce how fast it accumulates again. The primary mechanism that drives background cache growth is background app refresh. This is a setting that allows apps to run and update in the background even when you're not using them. Every time an app refreshes in the background, it potentially writes new cached data. On iPhone, go to Settings, General, Background App Refresh. You can turn this off entirely, which stops all background refreshing, or you can set it to refresh only on Wi-Fi, which reduces cellular data use. Why? You can also scroll down and toggle it off for specific apps individually, keeping it on for apps where timely background updates matter to you, like email or messaging, while turning it off for apps that don't need it, like games or shopping apps. On Android, go to Settings, Apps, and look for a battery or background restrictions option. Many Android versions allow you to set individual apps to restricted, which prevents background activity. Or you can look in developer options for a background process limit setting. Turning off background refresh for apps you don't need running continuously will meaningfully slow the rate of cache accumulation going forward. Your phone's storage will stay cleaner for longer between maintenance sessions. The security section. Now let's talk about something most people have never considered. Your phone's charging port is also a data transfer port. And that creates a security vulnerability that is real, documented, and simple to protect against. The attack is called juice jacking. It works like this. A malicious actor sets up or compromises a public charging station, the kind you find in airports, coffee shops, hotel lobbies, and shopping malls. When you plug your phone into that station, the cable connection that delivers power also delivers a data connection. If your phone accepts that data connection without requiring your permission, malware can be installed, data can be extracted, and your device can be compromised while you watch your battery percentage go up. The FBI has issued formal public warnings about juice jacking risks at public charging stations. This is not theoretical. The good news is that protecting against it is straightforward. On Android, go to Settings and search for USB debugging. It may be in developer options, which you may need to enable first by going to About Phone and tapping build number 7 times. Once you find USB debugging, make sure it is turned off. USB debugging is a developer tool that opens a data connection channel that malicious charging hardware can exploit. Additionally, when you plug your Android phone into any USB connection, a notification typically appears asking what you want the connection mode to be. The options usually include file transfer, media transfer, and charging only. Always select charging only when connecting to any charger that is not your own home charger. This mode restricts the connection to power delivery only and closes the data pathway. On iPhone, Apple's Trust. This computer prompt serves a similar function. When you connect to an unrecognized USB device, iPhone asks whether you trust the connection. Always tap Don't Trust when connecting to public charging stations. Go to Settings, Face ID and Passcode, or Touch ID and Passcode, scroll down to USB accessories, and make sure this is turned off. With this setting off, iPhone blocks USB data connections whenever the phone has been locked for more than an hour, providing automatic protection even if you forget to tap Don't Trust in the moment. Hardware. Protection. For the most reliable protection against juice jacking at public chargers, use a USB data blocker. These are small physical adapters, usually inexpensive, that plug between your cable and the charging port. They physically remove the data pins from the connection, passing only the power pins through. It is physically impossible for a data connection to occur through a USB data blocker, regardless of what the charging hardware is attempting to do. Carrying a USB data blocker in your bag and using it whenever you charge from a public USB port eliminates the juice jacking risk entirely at the hardware level. No software setting, no matter how carefully configured, provides the same absolute guarantee as a physical data blocker. Where you should be. After 15 minutes, if you've worked through everything we've covered, here's what you've accomplished. Your storage is cleaner. Gigabytes of temporary cache files have been removed. Watch downloads from streaming apps have been cleared. Your phone's operating system has the breathing room it needs to process tasks efficiently. Your phone is faster, not because the hardware changed, but because full storage was the bottleneck and that bottleneck is gone. Your cache will grow more slowly. Background app refresh has been configured to limit unnecessary background activity. Your security is hardened. USB debugging is off. Charging connections are set to charging only. And you know to use a data blocker at public charging stations. None of this required technical expertise. None of it cost money. None of it took more than 15 minutes. Your phone was set up by default to be an open target with cluttered storage. You've just changed both of those things. Do this once a month, and you will never deal with a slow, full, or unnecessarily vulnerable phone again.